So I'd love to start with growing up in LA because I have children. I have 3 teenagers who are born and raised in Los Angeles, and I was born and raised in New Orleans. So I'm always
Oh,
fascinated by meeting a person who's actually from Los Angeles and grew up in Los Angeles, and also in the context of you being a writer and having such a beautiful talent for setting the scene, and having the setting be a big part of your books. I think
oh, thank
I'm
you.
interested in the setting of your early life in Los Angeles and how that was for you.
Well, actually, not only am I native of Los Angeles, I'm a third generation. So my
Oh.
grandparents grew up in Los Angeles, which is unusual
Yeah.
because most people have come from somewhere else. And so, yeah, so I grew up there, was at the beach almost every day. I didn't
Yeah.
live near the beach, but like we would drive to the beach. That was just part of our routine, was outside a lot. I had kind of the same kind of a childhood that anybody else would have. When I'm writing a summer book,
Yeah.
I definitely draw back to that sensory memory that I have of summers, like salt on my
Yes.
skin and sand drying in my toes and the sound of the ocean and the summer music. Like I can get back to being 16 years old in Los Angeles in like 2 seconds in my
Yes.
mind.
Did you guys grow up did you have siblings, and did you grow up going in the ocean, like surfing, that kind of
Oh,
thing, or
so
just
I'm not good at doing things like that or,
yeah.
like, literally anything with my body. I'm, like, not good at it. So I went in the ocean every
Yeah.
single day and, like, would go under the waves and swim
Yeah.
around a little bit, but no, I never surfed.
Yeah.
And I had 2 older siblings, yes.
Yes.
None of us surfed.
Yeah. Summer has all of those sensory, like you described, that can get you back there so viscerally. Even in the South, the honeysuckle, like, if I pass by honeysuckle and smell it, it's just immediately like I can be in Louisiana. So I
Oh,
I
I would love to
appreciate
smell
that.
that right now.
Yes.
I wish this was like smell-o-vision and I
Yeah.
could scratch you and smell a honeysuckle and see what that smells like. And it's fun too when you're like writing romance because that's also sort of sensory. So it's fun to have like hot skin. You
Yeah.
can like kind of put somebody inside your body memory
Yeah.
um, with that kind of summertime memory.
Do you play with that as a writer? Like, will you light a candle that has a scent, or is it mainly imagination?
I always light a candle, and that is basically like my spiritual way of being like, "Could I have some help?" Like, I'm 100% sure I'm not doing this on my own because I don't really know how to write a book. That's why I light a candle. I do remember, just speaking of Los Angeles, you made me think of this. Did you ever go to the restaurant Trader Vic's when it was still open?
Yes, years and years ago. I had the
So
big tropical drinks. It's like
yes,
West Wilshire
yes,
and Santa Monica, or
yes,
yeah.
yes. And my grandfather used to take us there all the time, and we would walk in and they would hand us gardenias.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that smell, I mean, that is the
Yeah.
smell that can take me back to, like, my childhood in a second. I'll
Yeah.
buy anything that smells like gardenias.
I love that. I hope that shows up in one of your books, Gardenias. I can't remember if it has. I don't have a memory of it, but, I read a lot. So
Yeah.
sometimes my memory gets a little
Well, I'll
melty.
tell you what, Paige, I don't remember either,
Yeah.
and I write a lot. Someone will be asking me a question about a particular book, and I'll just say, like, "I'm gonna need a minute."
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna need a minute to get out of the book I'm writing and get back into 2 books ago.
Yes.
It's confusing.
Oh, absolutely. I remember one of my fears of sharing my writing, which I only started to share writing in a blog form in 2014. So I was almost 40 by the time I said, "Here, I really want to write." Although a lot of people knew I was writing, and I'd often give creative writing as a gift, like read a poem
Hmm.
at a baby shower, or write something for my parents or my family members. So the cat was out of the bag, but in a more public way in 2014. And I had this fear that I would change my mind, that I would write something, especially when you're writing nonfiction, where you have a point of view and you've taken a stance, and that I would change my mind and not remember. And then as I started listening to thought leaders and spiritual teachers and, all the nonfiction writers who I was following talk about it, because then podcasts became popular and Oprah Winfrey would have, writers under the oak trees in Santa Barbara and do her super soul interviews. And she would read something from one of those books and the writer would say, "Did I write that? Was that?" And it made me feel so much better that, like, as writers, we're thinking all the time and you
Yeah.
don't
And
always
we're also
remember.
and also we're changing all the time.
Yes.
So something that I might have written 20 years ago I might not even have that perspective anymore,
Yes.
or I might have grown out of even thinking that way anymore. But once it's on the paper, like there's something about writing something down and having it published and off, like even if it's on the internet, like
Yeah.
it's there forever.
Yes.
So it is sort of terrifying to put it out there.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then to be vulnerable enough to grow up in front of your readers, to say, yeah, I am changing and evolving, and to have that be part of the partnership of having readers, I feel like. And
Mhm.
I just find you to be so connected and generous with your readers. I know I mentioned that to you, but tell me about finding readership. When Nora goes off, we should just jump to Nora goes off script, and I might jump around and go back to your early career. But when you sit down to write Nora goes off script, I know it was in COVID, so it was unique because you had these stretches of time
Yep,
and you have kids at home, I think, right?
I
So
did.
tell
Yep.
us about that process. And then because Nora Goes Off Script became popular really quickly and you had a following, I feel like, at least as I was one of those readers who followed you after that book pretty quickly. So tell us about
Yeah.
that process.
I had written before, but I had never written fiction for adults. And when the world shut down in 2020, it was like you can remember how weird that was. It was
Yes.
like the weirdest air we were breathing, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And I didn't know, if we were gonna if we were gonna survive. I didn't know. And I don't really like baking banana bread, and I didn't want to watch Netflix. So
Yep.
I just basically sat down and started writing that book. It was like a daydream. And I just
Yeah.
started writing it. And I didn't write it for anyone to read because I didn't really think it was going to get published. I thought we were all going to die. So I just wrote the book. It was like, and they say dance like nobody's watching.
Yes.
It was just like write like no one's going to read it. I wrote that book. I wrote it pretty quickly, actually. It was picked up and it was published, and that all happened very quickly. And then it became this is what I'm trying to say. When you have something in your head, right, and you're
Yeah.
just typing it, that is between you and your computer. But as soon as you read it, now it's in your head,
Yes.
and you and I have a relationship. Like you and I have been in that tea house together.
Yeah.
And it's so special. Like, it's just amazing to have readership and have people
Yeah.
who are like, now this was my fourth book, but this book that came out this summer is my fourth book.
Oh, I
And
see.
I
Okay.
have people that have read all of them. And we have like a whole breadth of experience together. Like,
Yeah.
you, it's very intimate.
Yeah.
And when you go on book tour and you meet all the people and they all show up and they have a perspective to share on something that you made up in your mind, it's remarkable.
Yeah. How has it changed you? Has it changed you as a writer? Has it changed you as a person, as a mom, as a friend?
Well, it's changed to have readers.
Yeah. To have that
Yeah,
relationship, to have that
it,
exchange.
it's kind of humbling,
Yeah,
honestly. Like I don't write when I write, I don't write for readers. Like I never think, and this is like what I do to keep myself from getting really overwhelmed. Like if I was like, oh God, I'm writing this new book, I hope Paige is gonna like it.
yeah,
Like as soon as I think that, I am like, I have no more words.
for
So
sure.
I just have to write a story for myself.
Yeah,
So it hasn't really changed me as a writer as much. It's like given me a lot of humility actually as a
yeah,
person to see how a situation I relate to can be so relatable to so many other people.
yes,
It's like it makes me feel very connected.
yes. We just went to orientation because I have twin girls who are going off to college
Oh my
in a
goodness.
few weeks. And
Wow.
I was with my daughter at SDSU, and it's this big state school in San Diego. And I was nervous, she was nervous, and we arrive, and everybody looked the same. Every parent looked like me. Every student looked like her. Like you could feel the anxiety. Even
Yeah.
parents who this wasn't their first kid, like she's my firstborn. So there were parents there that it was their second, third, and fourth kid drop off. So even those parents, though, it was so connecting. I just felt so inspired by the fact that we get into our own little bubbles of anxiety, and I've been worried about this, and we had like a anxious 24 hours leading up to the process of picking classes and orienting to the school. And then the second I got there and shared it with all those people, it was like, I can't believe I ever thought I was alone in this. Like it's
Yeah.
such a universal experience.
It's so much like childbirth because childbirth is like you're like what the and
Yeah.
and like every mom's gone through it. Like
Yeah.
it is so universal, but like you just you were so unprepared for it.
Yeah.
And I think sending your kids off to college is almost like when I was sending my first son off to college, it almost felt like it was that last push.
Yeah.
Like it hurt. It actually
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt to send him.
Yeah.
And then it was totally fine. But it was like, I think it is very universal. I love that
Yeah.
you had that experience.
Yeah. Are all 3 of the boys out of the house now? Or do you still have one
Yeah.
in
So
high
I,
school?
I still I have one in college.
Oh, one in
He just
college.
finished his
Okay.
freshman year in college, and then the other two are grown, and they live in New York City.
Yeah. Did you have, any vision for how to handle and balance motherhood with a career? When you had your first son, maybe your second son, it was like, "I'm just doing motherhood." Like, did you ever anticipate that kind of tension between, "How am I gonna become a writer and be a mom?" Or was it all very organic?
It was very organic and really, I take no responsibility for it because
Yeah.
I did it so poor like, I did it so just out of order,
Yeah.
although it all worked out fine. I had been working in investment banking before I had kids, and I hated it, and I was, like, not good at it in any way, and so when I got pregnant with my first son, I was like, "Well, I'm out."
Yeah.
And so I stayed at home. I was at home with 3 kids before I ever went back to writing at all, which is what I had originally wanted to do. I didn't write anything at all until I was 37.
Wow.
So, yeah, and having said that, I didn't say, "You guys, I'm writing now. I'm
Yeah.
going back to work." I did it like I was having an affair. Like, I am not proud of this.
Well,
I was like,
that makes it
"Oh."
exciting in
I
that
know,
way, like a
right?
secret.
That's exactly what an affair is. It's very exciting,
Yeah.
and I'm not proud of it if I did it,
Yes.
which I didn't. I
Yeah.
promise I didn't.
Yes.
But it's like I would just sneak time, like
Yeah.
while they were at school or after people went to sleep. Like I didn't make time for myself to write and say, "You guys, this is what I'm doing," which
Yeah.
I wish I had done earlier. Like
Why?
now,
Why do you feel like that in hindsight?
I don't know, I just kind of I think it would have been nice for them. I
Yeah.
think that would have been
Yeah.
like a nice like, "Look, our mom's actually doing something."
I see.
Rather than like, you know, she's got like a little hobby, and isn't
Yes.
that like I wish I had taken it more seriously.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it very much full time, like
Yeah.
7 days a week, and there is no hiding from the fact that like I am working all the time,
Yes.
and my kids know that, and they could have handled that like 15 years ago, would have been
Right.
fine.
Right.
But instead, I kinda made it hard on myself.
Yes. When you wrote the nonfiction, was that gratifying to you as a writer? You wrote a couple
Oh,
the
super.
1 or 2 books before Nora Goes Off
So I
Script?
wrote so I wrote 2, YA novels
Oh, okay.
that
So you were
nobody
fiction.
really yeah, nobody really read.
Yeah.
And then after that, I wrote a column for 10 years.
Okay.
It was basically like funny things about mom life, and I published that as a collection of essays. And what was interesting about that is that column was like 35 times more successful than my YA books. Like
Yeah.
that took off and it got picked up in a lot of places. And that was super satisfying because it kind of made me feel like I could develop my grown up voice
Yes.
and like get comfortable talking about things that are like actually happening to me in my life.
Yeah.
And I think that really prepared me for what I'm doing now, which is talking about grown up love and grown up life.
Yeah, you found your voice.
Yeah, I found my voice.
Could you go back to those YA novels and even recognize yourself?
I
If
wonder.
Yeah, if you opened it, I wonder too.
I wonder. I don't
And it
know.
doesn't
I'm
matter. I mean, here we are back, you have evolved, but it is
right.
interesting how we do that as artists and as writers with readers, whether it's 10 people or whether it's 10,000 people. That's part of the process.
I don't go back and read any of my stuff
Yeah.
actually. Unless I'm sometimes when I'm writing a book, I'm like, did I already say this in another
Yes.
book? And then I actually have to go back into old documents and search the words, and then
Oh, is
I'm
that
like,
what you
"Oh, no,
do?
I didn't
Yeah.
already say that." Yeah,
I feel like
but
that
I
all
don't
the time, that I've already
do
said
you?
something all the time, and I think I
Yeah,
have already said it.
yeah.
And
No,
even on
that's
the
what my husband
podcast,
says.
yeah, like, it's okay because
Yeah,
it's I have no idea what I've talked about on this podcast. I'm sure I'm bringing up the same stories, but then it's like, okay, but each guest is a different person and,
right,
you let it all go. So
right.
has the process changed since Nora Goes Off Script? So you have the big success. Do you immediately get into the second book? And was there a contract and an expectation of more of this, please, like immediately?
Yes, after they bought Nora, they had an option for another book.
Yeah.
So I started writing another book, and they bought that, and that was same time next summer.
Yes.
And then after that, they gave me a contract for 2 more books. And so this is every year. So a book
Okay.
coming out every June. And then after that, I signed a contract for 2 more books. So I have a book coming out in 2026 and 2027.
Nice.
And so has the process changed? Yes, because
Yeah.
I am not like screwing around going, I wonder if I'll write another book. Like if you're going to write a book a year, you need to have it finished. Like I just turned in my new book this morning.
Oh,
It's
congratulations.
you know
Yeah.
what? Thank you.
Yeah.
It's premature for the
Yeah.
victory lap.
Yeah.
I'll get it back in a week with, like, a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
You know, that has to be done really
Yeah.
by the end of August for it to come out in June. I'll finish that, and then I'll start writing another book.
Yeah. And is that a pace that you appreciate? Is that how you like to live and work and have your life?
I must, because
Yeah.
I don't really do a lot of things I don't like doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's
if
so
I didn't
good.
like
Yeah.
this, I don't think I would do it, and what I love is I first of all, I love writing.
Yeah.
So, I love that this is my work, that like, "Oh, I'm going to work," and then I get to do, like, literally my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So, that's really fun, and I do like having a deadline, because without one, I could really flounder.
Yeah.
I think that I would be happier if we lived in a 14-month year.
Yeah.
Like, I would be more relaxed writing a book a year if it was a 14-month year,
Yeah. But then you'd want it to be 16 months because
right?
you'd lock into the 14 and you'd be like, if only I had those other 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, I don't play tennis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like,
Yeah.
I there's not something else like, I like to hang out with my husband and my friends in the evening. There's not something else I wanna be doing at this
Yeah.
point in my life, and I started late, so I'm really happy to have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. Has it exceeded your expectations to have this kind of career and the readers who are tracking these characters with you? Is it a surprise
It
to you?
it's like a shock. I mean, this was my little kids wanna grow up and play
Yeah.
in the NBA, like, or at least my little kids did.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
this is what I wanted to do my whole life. Like, this
Yeah.
was my wildest dream. So, yeah, to have this happen to me, late in life, have it all be so well received and to meet all the people that I've met, it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah. Can you point to anything in your early life that inspired you, whether that was a book or a English teacher, or do you think you were one of those kids that was just born attuned to writing and storytelling? And also, did you keep a journal? I'm always interested if
Uh,
writers keep a journal.
okay, so I'll
It's a
tell
lot of
you,
questions
yes,
at once.
I don't keep a journal because I basically just write all day,
Yeah.
like, that's just extra writing. I picked up The Artist's Way
Yeah.
recently, and you're supposed to do this thing in the morning. I'm
The
like,
morning pages.
"Who ha"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Who has time for that?" No, I'm just gonna get to work. But no, I always kept a journal when I was growing up, and it's funny because I sold my house last year and had to go through, like, you can't even imagine, like, how much crap. And I came across all the journals,
No
and I got
way.
so overwhelmed
Yeah.
by, like, how crazy I was when I was
Yeah.
13. I'm like, I don't even know if I kept them or what I did with them. But I did journal a ton when I was a kid. I liked to make up stories,
Yeah.
and I did do a lot of writing when I was growing up. I remember when I was maybe 14, 15, Heartburn came out by
Yeah.
Nora Ephron. It
Yeah.
was her first novel, and my mom immediately bought it, and I immediately read it, and I remember being, like, kind of shocked by the way she wrote,
Yeah.
and it was, like, not how I would been taught to write in Catholic school.
Yeah.
She, like, broke every rule of, like, sentence structure and story, like, she'd go off on these tangents. I don't even know what was happening to me while I was reading that, but it, like, opened a door for me.
Oh, I
Like,
love
I
that. Yeah.
you don't have to write Tolstoy to
Right.
write. There are
Right.
a lot of different ways to use your voice,
Yeah.
and that I always remember that. I also had a great English teacher in high school who I don't know if she taught me anything about writing, but she saw something in me,
Yeah.
and, when you're a kid and somebody sees something in you, you feel it,
Oh, yeah.
and it's so important that we do that for kids. Like, when we see something, we should
Yes.
be like, "I see something in you."
Yes. Did you do that with your boys? Do you feel like each one of them is different and unique in their talent or skills?
Yeah, for sure, they are. I hope I told them.
I
Well,
know.
now I'm gonna have to call them after we get off. I
Did
hope
I
I
did
did,
I
yeah.
validate your dreams? Did
Okay,
I
hey,
affirm your wildest dreams?
just real quick, just quick question. Am I the worst or not? But they are all really different.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I hope I did.
My husband is one of 3 boys, and my family is so many girls. I have 1 older sister, but to enter his family, oh, this is kind of like Dan's family, and it's a love story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you about that, but to enter my husband's family was like I couldn't even believe it. Like 3 boys is just its own thing. They're each so unique in
Yeah.
exactly who they are, but it's very masculine, like high energy, like totally different kinda household than I grew up in with girls.
Same. Same. I grew up in basically a house of women, and
Yeah.
I just when I my husband's one of 3 boys too,
Oh,
and
wow,
it
yeah.
sort of freaked me out when I met them. But then I had 3 boys, and it's just like it's unbelievable how you can get used to like you're making dinner and somebody throws a basketball through the room and it almost hits you, and then it goes and it breaks a window, and you're like, you just call the guy. Like it's just
Yes,
you get used to it. It's like
yes,
this is what it is. It's crazy.
yes, it's crazy.
And the food, it's just
The
they
level,
eat
I know,
it's a lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah. It
So
was great.
I love the way you create family. I love the way you show us family, and I really love, how you draw older characters. Even with Allie's mom, who's the book before this book, right? I get
Yes,
the
summer
title
romance.
Summer Romance. Okay, and Allie's mom. So Allie's in Summer Romance for those of you who are
Yep,
listening who haven't read it.
and her
And her
mom's
mom,
dead.
yes, her mom has passed. But even that relationship, I was so interested in the mom character there. The book this summer, it's called It's a Love Story. We'll link it in the show notes. This is Dan and Jane's story. Dan's whole family is amazing, and you vividly paint it. Like I felt like I was at the table with Dan's family, and then I loved the scene with Jane's mom. I hate when podcasts give too much away about the book. So
Right.
this is a broad question about more your process and creating these characters of different ages, especially the parental characters. Were you inspired by your own parents, by your friends' parents? Do you just like that family dynamic? Creating,
Well,
getting
for
into the emotion of
Dan's
that.
family,
Yeah, and just
yeah,
like you do that in all your books to some extent, I feel like there's the relationship
yeah.
of that.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna have as, like, beautiful or painful of a relationship with anybody you meet when you're 40 years old as you are gonna have with the people are in your family, who you grew up with,
Yeah.
who are your relatives. Like, there's just so much history and so many opportunities to, like, build each other up and hurt each other. It's such a perfect drama
Yes.
for fiction. I love a family, and I love getting to know my heroine by seeing her in her
Yes.
family, whether she's a mother or whether she has parents or both. In Dan's family in particular, I feel like I had been watching this family for like 10 years just in my regular life.
Yeah.
They're not like my family, but like, you walk into that big, loud family,
Yes.
like lots of guys, and they all like start out insulting each other, but
Yeah.
it's funny.
And it's close. It's
It's
funny
like
and it's
so
so intimate, and you're like, "How is this happening?"
right, right. And then there's that other kind of family where you're like, oh, hello.
Yeah,
And then there's the thing we don't talk about
yeah,
because we never talk about that. So I've been thinking about this family for a long time, I think in the back of my mind. And when I met Dan, I was like, ooh, he gets that family.
yeah, yeah.
And I just loved like all the scenes in the book where I wrote his family. I just wrote those scenes one time and one time only. Like they just came out. Like
Wow.
it was almost like they'd been bubbling forever. But just the way they're like, no one's afraid of anything at that dinner
Yeah.
table because it's all been said. It's all been said
Yes.
100 times. It's all
Yeah,
good. We know where we are. We know who we are.
yeah.
Kind of relaxing.
When did you and where did you and how did you meet Dan? Like, do you have a way that you meet certain characters that stick with you and maybe you're ready to bring them to life, or you put them in a notebook and say, "That'll be for the next book"?
No, so Jane just met this guy and his name was Dan, and I don't know why his name was Dan. And he was crossing the street, and I didn't know anything about him. And they
Oh,
have this
wow.
really random conversation about a billboard. And then I write 150 more pages of the book. And then at the end of the book, I'm like, oh, I think I know who they are. And then I start over again. So I
How
don't really
interesting.
ever know.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Jane was. I knew she was a teen star. I knew that she was a little bit unself aware.
Yeah.
I didn't know how unself-aware she was gonna be until I finished the book. It happens while I'm writing. So I never have an idea for a character before I start writing, which is
Okay.
not a totally efficient way to write a book.
It's your
Do
way.
not
Yeah.
recommend. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the only way I know how to do it. It drives my editor bananas,
Are
but
you
here we are.
collecting little bits of inspiration from your real life community, friends, strangers, or do you let it
Only
arise?
only in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
I don't write stuff down,
Yeah.
but sometimes I'll write something and I'll think, "Ooh, that might have happened," and then I erase it. Like, I'm not gonna write
Yeah.
anybody else's story, but everything I write comes from, like, something I felt,
Yeah.
you know, something I witnessed people feeling. Like, I don't have a daughter, but in summer romance, I wrote a lot about mothers and daughters,
Yeah.
because I was a daughter and I see people around me parenting their daughters. I have a lot of thoughts about our generation of parents and,
Yeah.
like, how it's maybe all a little bit too much.
Yeah. I
Um,
have those same
anyways,
thoughts, Annabelle,
that's weird. Maybe
including
it's just
about
you and me.
myself, where I'm like,
Oh,
"Is this
right.
too much?"
Honestly, I think about this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, especially with adult children,
Yeah.
like, what is the right amount
Yeah.
to even call?
I totally
So then
agree. Yeah.
I end up never calling, and then they call me, and I'm like, "Oh, hey," because 'cause
Yeah.
I'm like a middle schooler trying to be cool or something, but, like, I don't know how much to be involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're all in that same boat because there's never been this level of contact. When they text you in the middle of the day with any emotion, whether it's apathy, whether it's anxious emotion, whether it's joy, it's like it pops up in your handheld device and then there you are with that emotion.
yeah,
It's so much exchange. Whereas I felt like I saw my parents here and there in the 80s. It's like you're running through the house, no big deal. They
yeah,
were into their own life.
yeah,
So it's totally
and
different.
we had to sit with stuff for longer.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
like, if you
Yeah.
had a big crisis while you were at college,
Yeah.
you had that crisis for a while until you got access to the hallway phone on Sunday night,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
you didn't immediately, like, ask for someone to step in and engage with your problem,
Yes.
which is, probably, like, very hard for our kids
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're not, like, learning those skills.
Right. How was your mom? What was your mom like, and what was it like growing up with your mom? What is her name?
Joni.
Joni. Okay. Tell us about
Yeah.
Joni.
Joni was amazing. She grew up in Los Angeles, and my parents divorced when I was 5, so she was a single mom. She was just the most fun person.
Mhm.
Like, she wanted to have fun, she wanted to make everything fun, she was very smart, she was amazing.
Did she
So she
like to read
passed away.
books?
She was a huge reader.
She was? What kind of
Yeah,
books did she like to read?
huge. You name it. She read
Anything.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything, everything, and the rule in our house was we weren't really allowed to watch TV, which was
Yeah.
annoying, but we could read anything that we could read. So I was,
Yeah.
like, 10 years old reading, like, Sidney Sheldon and
Yes.
Danielle Steele, and I was like, I don't really understand what they're doing.
Yes.
Why what?" But it was very fun. She was
Danielle
amazing.
Steele. Oh, the paperbacks. My mom just had all of Danielle Steele lined up in the closet, and I would just go and get my
Yeah.
hands on those. And, how about Lady Chatterley's Lover? I remember
You know
going
what's
to the
funny?
woods.
Yeah, that got steamy. I don't think I've ever read it.
Oh, you should read it. I mean, now that we're in the time that we're in, you have to
Right.
read it in the context of that ti I just read it early because I was like, "Oh, I've heard about this book,"
Yeah,
and I can't even remember
yeah.
how old I
You're
was, but
flipping to get to the good
yeah,
parts.
where it's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
like real romance and sexual energy and all that stuff that isn't in the other books that you're reading?"
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have a memory of an early, early book, like when you were early childhood of liking like a Charlotte's Web or a Stuart Little? Did you have an early connection to books?
I remember really loving Anne of Green Gables.
Yes. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
A Fly Went By.
Yeah.
Did you like that book?
Yeah. I
I love
loved,
that book.
when I was really young, one of my first book memories is where all the dogs, get on motorcycles. Oh, I'm drawing a
Oh,
blank on the name.
Go Dog Go,
Yes. I
and they have a dog
love
party.
that book so much, and I remember
Do
the
you like my hat? I
yes.
do like your hat.
And the dog, moon bathing, they're all in the
Yep.
big bed, but it's really early, so it's interesting how you can find that, like, in your body, to your point earlier about summer. It's an in my body memory that's visceral, even though I'm looking at pages and in the book, I have memories of my dad being with me, asking to turn the page. I couldn't wait to see the dog with the moonlight. It's very
I
cool.
love that. I love that
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. So what were books like as you got older? College, you were an English major?
I was an English major, so, I read a lot of hard things in college.
Did you relate to that kinda
And
writing? And criticism,
I
like that kinda critical writing?
Yeah, I mean, I liked reading and then taking it apart, and I liked
Yeah.
all of those things. But I think that those were the books that made me feel like I could never be a writer.
Yes, same.
I read a lot of Margaret Atwood growing up,
Yeah,
like everything she's ever written at least
yeah,
once. And she's probably my favorite writer, but she's the one where I was like, so I guess I can't be a writer.
yeah,
Like, I can't do that.
yeah,
What she does is it's not available to me.
yeah.
It has been fun to like figure out my own kind of writing.
Yes. You
Yeah.
seem so at peace with it, like you're in a good relationship with it because I think there's freedom in that, in finding where you are, and I'm married to a musician, so I've watched Boyd, my
Yeah.
husband, kind of go through that with music too, just finding the type of sound and song and music that he can create and being at peace with it. And I think I've gotten better at that, but I'm behind him. Like I'm inspired by people like you and Boyd who are like, yeah, and then it's really fun to be you, like, to have your voice instead of thinking that it could be this other thing.
I really love that thought. I love the ease of it.
Yeah.
And I think that whatever we're trying to do, if we show up as ourselves to do it, people relate to it more.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
if I'm tr- here's a perfect example.
Yeah.
If I have something that I need to post on Instagram and I go into a Word document and write some smart thing
Yeah.
and then copy it into Instagram and I'm like, here's my smart thing about this thing, no one cares.
Yeah.
If I go onto Instagram and I just with my thumbs type something like I would type to my sister, everybody sees it.
Yes.
It's like if you show up as yourself, people are like, "Oh, I recognize that as a person,
Yeah.
not as something false." We need to see authentic things.
Yes. Yeah.
People talking in their speaking in their own voices.
Yeah. And we're so overwhelmed with all the expert content. I think the authentic
Oh
voice
my gosh.
is the future because it's like you can chat GPT anything. You can go take Harvard classes online. You can access any kind of expert heady, knowledge now that I think it's just the relatability that people are craving and
Yeah.
feeling good. I accredit Nora Goes Off Script to just feeling good. And I think that's one of the things that your books do, and also the genre. Like, I find that this genre of romance and the way you guys show up for each other, there's a lot of crossover. I find a lot of goodwill, between writers in that genre and the way people
For
show
sure.
up for it, and that feels newer to me. So I wanted to ask you about that. Like, that feels like in the last 5 or 6 years to me, where there's bookstores popping up that are only for romance books, and there's just a larger community around it. Do you find that in entering
Yeah,
that genre?
it's amazing. And romance really blew up, I think, around COVID.
Yeah.
People wanted to feel better. They, for a lot of reasons, they were looking for a story that was going to have a guaranteed happy ending.
Yes.
But I think there's also something about romance novels where, a lot of learning goes on.
Yeah.
Like a lot of personal development happens when you fall in love. And even if you get your heart broken, you learn something about yourself. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a personal journey to go on
Yeah.
that is going to end well. But about the community, it's so funny. I have never in my life had a job like this where
Yeah.
everybody's cheering for everyone.
Truly.
It is
It's
just I
amazing.
it's amazing.
And you
And
can
we
feel it on, and I'm not like a major social media person, but I love following you on social media. I love the way you show up so authentically. So there
Thank
are
you.
people I consistently follow who are like that, but you can feel it in the way that this community shows up. You can feel it online when you go to a book signing, you can feel it with the people there. It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, when at a book signing, imagine walking into a room. There are 200 people there, and everybody there wants a happy ending.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody walks in like, like everybody
Yeah.
is just like looking for the positive thing.
Yeah.
Romance readers are a very particular kind of lovely person.
Yes.
And there are all these new romance only bookstores, and they feel like safe havens for people to go. And they're a lot of them are organized by like different kinds of
Yeah.
romance and like it's all so inclusive.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's a good time to be a part of it. And I'm so glad you're
Yes.
a part of it. It's very cool.
Yeah, and I feel so lucky.
I want to ask you about that personal development arc because I've thought about this with your books and also to the point of it's a hallmark of the genre. There is always that moment where the character is having the self-awareness or having the turnaround. Do you have to trial and error that moment as a writer? Cuz it sometimes it feels
Mhm.
like, I'll just do It's a Love Story since this is the most recent, and I hope people will read it. You know, Jane's revelation and how she really gets that moment with herself of how she could, handle the relationship better. Let's just leave it nice and broad like that.
Yeah.
Do you know, or do you have to throw spaghetti at the wall around that? Because it feels very specific to me, that moment within someone's personal development, and as a person who works with personal development, it feels very true. That's how people are. It's like it can
Well,
seem very obvious and then the stakes get higher and higher and it's like it's not obvious and then all of a sudden they have to face it.
yeah. And that's ideally how it happens, but I never go in knowing. So,
Yeah.
I do this thing where I write a book a couple of times where I'm just trying to get to know my characters.
Okay.
I wrote It's a Love Story like 14 times. I mean, I've wrote it a lot of times.
Wow.
But there's a moment where I figure out what her wound is,
Okay. That makes
and I can
sense. The wound.
feel
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
I can feel her
Yes.
wound. And then I start moving her through the story the way we all kind of move around, following our wound around, you
Yes.
know? I mean, I know I do. So, and then at the end, I know that there's something that she needs that to learn that I can give her. And hopefully, after writing the book for 14 times, I know what that is in that moment, and then it will resonate.
Yeah.
And whether it's like a revelation or a tirade or some decision she
Yeah.
has to make. And sometimes it can make sense in my brain, but it doesn't feel right.
Yes.
Like I have to be kind of choked up before I know that it worked.
For sure. I always think that's a good, barometer if you're bored by your own writing or if you're you know,
Gosh.
if you're triggered by your own writing, you're like, someone's gonna have the same experience.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
The other day, my husband walked out in the morning, and I was like, "Hello."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, what's going on?" I'm like, "Ugh, he just I'm so mad." Like, and I was just at the part of the
Yes.
book where, like, the
Yeah.
bad thing was happening, and in my body, I was so angry. I was like, "Okay, this
Yeah.
is gonna be a good breakup."
Yeah. We
Yes.
can't wait
Yeah.
to read it next summer. How
So,
do
well,
you feel
fingers crossed.
about the 14 times you're writing It's a Love Story? So now I'm back on the you and Boyd have this thing about you where you're okay with your own voice. When I have to rewrite something or when I can't figure out what I'm really trying to say or the conclusion, because most of my writing will end in some sort of inspirational message, you know, that's
Mhm.
because it's nonfiction and it's a real story in life, but it's an applied lesson that can be universal. That turnaround for me when it's not working gets really frustrating. And Boyd
Mhm.
handles me great. He's like, "You know what? Just keep going or go for a walk and I'll do dinner." You know, he can spot it a mile away, I think because he has his own creative process. So when you spot it, you got it. You know, he has a lot of empathy for that moment. But
I love him.
I love him too. He was
Yeah.
my first, guest on this podcast because I wanted to talk to him about creativity. So episode 1,
Wow.
season 1, yes, it was
Wow.
very I don't know, I just get inspired by people's, courage and discipline in that moment, and writing It's a Love Story 14 times. How do you stick with that? How do you approach it? Are you fighting with it? Are you wrestling with it? Or are you just like, "Hey, this is part of the deal. I'm waking up. I'm writing from 9 to noon," or whatever your schedule is that you keep?
The one piece that I have going for me is I have a great editor.
Oh, I wanna
Like,
hear about that.
my
Yeah.
my editor at Putnam she's an actual genius. You could fight me on this, like, she
Yeah.
is a genius. So, she'll read my book, like, the book that I'm writing right now, I thought it was done, like, 3 drafts ago,
Yeah.
and I really liked it. I was like, "I like this book." And she comes in and she's like, "I like it too. However," and then she
Yeah.
brings up, like, 10 issues. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh," and she's always right. Like,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, she's right. So, I have that to work with. It's not just me, like, looking at my thing saying, "Why isn't it working?"
Yeah.
and banging my head against a wall. I have somebody who's like, "Here's why your book's not working."
Yeah. I love that, the
And so
collaboration. Yeah.
yes, and so then I have to figure out how to fix it, but at least I know what the problem is.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's the beauty of working with an editor.
What would you say? Because I know some of my listeners have this kind of dream deferred, like you did. Like you had a dream when you were younger to write, you do your career as well as you know how to do it. Each door kind of opened and you followed it and you did motherhood along the way. And then returning, I mean, now you had the circumstance of COVID. So who
Yeah,
knows if you would have actually returned if COVID hadn't have happened.
yeah.
But what would you say to someone who kind of has either writing, because I know some people listening are women who would like to write later in their life, or starting that business, or going to become an interior designer, or doing the thing? What would you say to that person in terms of the facing the self doubt and having the courage to do it, or what's on the other side? Which to me, as I'm listening to you, it feels so satisfying that you have this experience, whether it was wildly popular or not, just that
Yeah.
you've had this beautiful, opportunity to design a life that feels really good to you.
Yeah, it does feel really good, and it has felt really good to write these books,
Yeah.
whether or not they were well received. It just felt really good to do it. What I would say to your listeners, and I don't know anything, but here's one thing I know for sure. I am 100% more qualified to do everything in the world than I was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I could not have written any of these books 20 years ago. I have like this breadth of experience of like going through the world and raising people and meeting all these people and like solving a lot of problems. It's just made me a little like smarter.
Yeah.
Um, and I really don't think that I would have had any wisdom to tell these kind of stories. So if you're trying to write something and you're a little bit older, you're probably just a little better qualified to do it now than you were before. And if you're trying to start a business, like multitasking when you're 25 is
Yeah.
not as easy as multitasking when you're 55 because you've been doing it for a long
Yeah.
time.
It's true. You've
I
become an
just think
expert. Yeah.
yeah, and, it's such a funny story that we tell about aging and, like, this decline. I just
Yeah.
think it's like we've really learned a lot of stuff along the way.
Yeah.
So, we're maybe better prepared now than we were.
Yes. And all of the skills transfer. I think that's one of the things that we forget, like all the skills that you use in your personal life, building families and being someone's daughter,
Oh,
and
yeah.
being someone's friend, it all transfers to business and it all transfers to creative expression.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm so excited that we got to connect still in the month of August because I just love sitting in the sun and reading one of your books and feeling good. It
Thank
feels
you.
you can read these books, by the way, y'all, all year round. But I do love the fact that when you're in the summer, there's a different space, there's a different headspace.
Yep. I know,
Um,
and they look like summer,
yeah, they look like
like
summer.
the covers do.
Yeah.
Like, it just wouldn't feel as right to read them in December as it does right now.
It feels like that to me for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us if I don't know if you can tell us anything about the actual book that you're reading. You can if you want, or just something that is compelling right now in this stage of your life. What it could be about family, it could be about your career at this moment, it could be something coming off of this big, amazing book tour that you did, meeting all these readers from It's a Love Story. What's up in this moment?
The book that I turned in this morning,
Yeah.
that's coming out next summer, it turns out after writing it many times, I think it is about, not holding on to other people's stuff.
Hmm.
Like, other people do things, and then you carry them around forever because 'cause you're
Yeah.
that kind of a person, and, like, holding people accountable for their own actions rather than, like, you suffering the consequence of other people's actions. That's the thing I'm thinking about a lot. That's the thing I've been writing about for, like, the last month, trying to nail the fine points of this story, but I'm starting to think about it in my own life
Yeah.
too, like, just going forward. Um, and this does happen. Sometimes I find that the book I just wrote is the thing that I need to know about.
Yes, I was just about to ask you that. It seems like that's exactly what you're describing. It's like the idea is compelling, but then all of a sudden life imitates art.
Yeah, well, and it's always, like, the thing that seeps in is the thing I'm worried about or the thing
Yeah.
like, when I wrote Summer Romance about a professional organizer and her house was such a mess, It was right before I was gonna sell my house,
Yeah.
and I had to go through my house that I'd lived in for 20 years and
Okay.
just clear out all that stuff, and every day I'd be like, "Didn't I just write a book about this?
Yeah.
I cannot believe that I've set myself up for this task right after I wrote that book."
Yes. It
Yes,
goes to show you how much is going on subconsciously.
it's
It's
amazing.
amazing. It's our whole life, I feel like. Almost our whole life is subconscious, which is why I
Yeah,
think, and I know people know this about me if you listen to this podcast or work with me, I just really believe in writing as a tool to reveal, even the smallest thing in a journal, or if you can do some creative writing, because it's so accessible. It's just paper and a writing utensil. That's it. You don't even have to go
yeah,
to like a deep dive analytic clinical psych appointment.
yeah.
You can
No,
just get
you
a
know.
notebook out.
You you just know, and just the process of,
Yeah.
and I think especially by hand,
Same.
when I'm really
Yeah.
trying to figure something out, I like to write by hand. It just comes out, and then you write it, and you're like, "Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that was my breakthrough."
That was your breakthrough. Yeah. Do you think we'll see Nora Goes Off Script on the big screen?
Well, it's been optioned,
It has been.
so
Okay, good.
yeah,
I could see it
yeah,
as a
so
movie when I was reading it.
yeah, it would be fun. There's 10,000 things that can go wrong between
Yeah.
a book being optioned and it actually becoming a movie, but we'll see. It would be really fun to see.
Oh, it'd be so fun. Oh, I'm so delighted to get this time with you, Annabelle. Thank you.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I just love talking to you, Paige. Thank you for having me.